Hello, Froggy here, and today I'll be showing you how to get into the Seraph facility for the weekly mission. You'll need to have the mission available, of course, so if you've already done it on all your characters, you'll need to have a friend let you in. I explored this with Gerbsnail and Nblock, and we managed to find a way to get all the way inside. The route I'm showing you now, however, was an improvement made by Bachmanetti. We're just going to go forwards a little bit, and around where there's a tree crossing over the chasm, there is a handy-dandy hole we can get into. Right about here. Can drop down on the left, and we're just going to be sword flying over to some underground mountain things. Don't worry about it too much. They are solid and you can walk on them. Saves us a little bit of sword flying. There are more areas that you can reach from here, but we'll do that in another video. You're just going to want to sword fly to the left side of this gap, and then make a left once you pass the rock. It's possible to just land on the structure directly, but I tend to like to make a pit stop at the jagged terrain we just passed, because landing on that ledge is a bit tricky. Getting to the next area is also a bit tricky. There is a push barrier blocking the open end, so you can't just walk in. Originally, Nblock managed to get through with a bit of fancy sliding and swinging. I managed to do a res breach from inside of this room. But then Bachmanetti showed us that if you just give a sword swing here, you can jump right on top. Well, if you do it right at least. There we go. Nice and easy. You can see the doorway that we will eventually come through to get in here, and it is very closed at the moment. Anyways, let's take a look at what's further in. This is your last chance to avoid spoilers. Although, at least some of this was shown in the trailer. It's beginning to look a lot like Bray over here. A little bit of lab stuff. Nothing too exciting yet. Let's just go a little bit further in. I wonder if we'll have any enemies in this hallway, or if it'll just be exposition. It is a bit of a walk. Launch Center. Those of you who played the Deep Stone Crypt Raid will recognize these. We've got some elevator tubes. Just takes a little bit of stasis climbing and you'll be right at the top in no time. I'll link my stasis climbing setup below. And we're at the top. The very top of that is not solid, so you can go ahead up there if you want, but I'm just gonna drop back down on top of the hallway we came in from. And that should be a familiar sight. Looks like we got some Morning Star type thing out this way. I hadn't actually watched the trailer before coming out here, so it was definitely a surprise to me. And over in this direction, we'll get a very good view of the Earth. If I can manage to make this jump anyways. and the Traveler. Though, perhaps not to scale. Let's get a closer look at that. I somehow doubt those buildings should be this visible from space, but we do have sparrows, so we've got that going for us, which is nice. You can cut out some of that stasis climbing if you use your sparrow instead. Anyways, since we have sparrows, we can sync box. I'm going to just go ahead and give you a brief overview of this here. If you're the person who's going to be dropping down, you're going to want to be on 30 FPS, while the person doing your observing is on a high frame rate. I've found my scroll wheel to moving forwards here so I can very slowly push Bach off of this ledge so that only I see him fall and he sees himself up top on his screen. Just going to go ahead and push him all the way off so that he will not be able to see the sparrow that I set up on my screen, so it will remain in place. I want to be very careful to not accidentally nudge whoever's doing the spotting for you. Want to hang off the edge a bit. And now Bach is going to shoot off the sparrow with explosive ammo and then give it about a 5 count and then look down at it. Works better if you use something like Aachen. And I'll give the full link to sync box in the description. The first thing I'd recommend doing when you're down here is landing on something solid. And luckily this very sketchy looking beam thing fits the bill. Despite it looking like every other intangible object you've ever seen, it is solid. Now let's go see the sights. They're getting up to about the height of these solar panels here. They are also solid, just like in deep stone, so you can go ahead and walk across them if you want. Now that we're higher up, you can see a catch in the top right. That doesn't quite look like the one that we see in deep stone, so it's definitely not just copied from there. That'll be our next destination. The deep stone jumping puzzle area doesn't quite seem to be there. But the catch is in fact solid, so I'm just gonna fly out to that and show you some odd things about it. Perhaps the oddest thing is that this entire catch is actually an entity. You look at that grenade that I just threw down there. We only get one shard. That means that this catch is definitely not part of the map geometry. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it might move around. Funny little object up there. It's not high res enough that I would expect to see it up close, but maybe off in the distance. Especially with what the backside here looks like. When Gerbsnail was doing his flyby, you saw that there was this inside of it. I died to spectate and found that I could not, which means that this is not quite a playable space.
Guardian down.
At least in that I would not expect to ever be running around. At least not while the ship is in this position. However, while Gerb was sparrow flying elsewhere in space in front of where the ship is, I was able to spectate him, which might mean something, or it might not. We'll see. But you can see this front area is a lot more detailed. Anyways, let's get back into the upper part of the map here. Since we set a spawn point fairly nearby, it's not a big deal if we mess up. You can drop in any of a number of places and it'll work fine. About where I'm going is closer to where you would initially get to see this all. You can see it is very different than the raid rooms we encountered. Just did a heavy swing to kill my momentum, and we're down safe. Now this place just looks wild. I am very much looking forward to it. We've got rooms all over the place, and they aren't all like linearly connected either. There's at least a few areas with offshoots. Whole thing looks pretty colorful out here too. I really did go crazy with the like name masking in the whole like mission space. Keep on forgetting that we have sparrows. I'm sure that when we come here for real, we won't have them, so definitely save those story missions. That was an interesting view. And see this red room to the left is some sort of small offshoot. I'm kind of expecting this will be the exotic weapon mission, which at least means that this part will be very replayable. It's either that or perhaps end season stuff, but I'm hoping for exotic mission, although maybe something will come into play there as well. And we're approaching what I believe the end is. There is a actual load zone kind of at the bottom of this ramp section, but we've not been able to hit it from outside of the map. But that room up there, as far as we can tell, is all that there is. Bachmanetti and I used a little hub trick to get a screenshot of what that area is like out of map, and we didn't see anything beyond. Now let's go ahead and take a look inside. Just like with Deep Stone, we can enter through the chimneys. And now that view of the Traveler makes a little bit more sense. We get a more limited perspective from here. I'm going to be doing a fairly quick run-through of what we've got here. If you want a more in-depth view, I would recommend checking out Gerbsnail's video of this whole adventure. His includes a lot of the original exploration that we did. Yeah, we've got a bit of highly suspicious vents going on. And Bit of fake doors, but I wonder what'll happen in these various side rooms. Maybe stuff for the catalyst from the exotic weapon? I don't know. But yeah, I think they did a very good job in making this feel expansive. So I also did the spectating trick in this room, and if you go up a little bit, you are no longer spectatable, which should mean that we don't actually get to come up here. Maybe it'll be a turn back. But that's a long drop. Let's keep moving up further in. A few more little choices in which way we go here. And it's like this place feels so much larger from the inside than it did outside. I imagine it'll be even more so if we actually have to fight through things in here. Now this room is interesting. The most of those like missing tiles you can actually stand on, apart from a little bit by the door. But this path may come in handy later. I expect it'll be filled in with entities of some sort. Another closed-off event. And that little red room from before. Not too much to it. I wonder if we'll be shooting more fuses or something like that. Kind of reminding me a bit of Glycon. Ah, we got some fallen stuff going down here. Getting kind of the hints of the story that'll be going on, and some banners with no flag. Sure, they'll find some way to bring Tanix back again. And we're awfully close to the end. I think just down this stretch. And there we have it, security at the very end. As far as I can tell, there's nowhere to go from here, but who knows, maybe there'll be a teleport or something. While I was exploring, I came across a weird place thing, but it didn't seem to do anything. Maybe that's a flag, who knows. And before I head out, just a couple more things about these vents. Since we have access to sparrows here, we can actually breach out of some of these areas. Don't know if we'll be able to do this in the activity itself, but JP3 was not going to let us miss a sparrow breaching opportunity. These slits are just wide enough to shoot through. I'm probably thinking it's more like a Glycon situation. Another interesting thing, these big rooms have intangible walls. A simple crouch jump and you're out. Well, I hope you guys have fun exploring the new content. I'm sure looking forward to it.